You get 3 rolls on the tower, and all of these numbers correspond to a random question that I have.
Oh my God.
Many K-pop Demon Hunters themed questions today, though. I want to do the honors down here. All right, kicking this off with a number 3, which does have a K-pop Demon Hunters touch to it. We actually ask this question every so often, but there's a game show in your movie. So, game show, what single game show would you most want to be on yourself, and could you actually win it?
Oh my goodness. Okay. I don't know what I would do because I am so bad at a lot of these like games. Like I remember like just the things you watch, like Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, all of these, like I'm so bad. But my brother has been like wanting to go on one of those like Survivor shows. But the whole thing is, like, you know, they have like team ones. I don't even know the title, but I would just be the first one to die always. Or not die, like not make it. like even like Squid Games, dead for sure, level 1. Like I just feel like I always joke when I watch like Walking Dead, I'm like, guys, I would just be like, I'm out. I'm good. I'm tired.
I ask that question a lot when I cover horror movies. Which horror movie stereotype are you? And you're the first to go.
I'm the first to go. I'm for sure the one that's like crying in the corner and just ready to be taken. Like when I watch these movies or shows and people are so like actively just like, we're gonna survive. We're gonna be the last survivors. I'm like, but if everyone's dead, why? I'm like, I don't want to be the last survivor. And I'm like such a scaredy cat. So I also have like crazy like stage fright. So like any like game show or like if I don't know the answer, I'll just feel so dumb. And I'm like really slow. Like my reaction is too slow. So I'm the type that's like when we're playing any games, I'll like always respond late. Unless it's something like really fun and silly like charades.
Oh, okay. That like, makes sense.
It has to be like safe and cute, and I like that game. Or poker.
Ooh.
But that's it.
Oh, I've heard about your I was going to say, actually.
But it's weird because any like real game, like where you can like win money is like the $1 million, you know those games where you like every question is a price? Like, I feel like I don't know any of them.
I feel like Marshall knows about this. We used to play a game on Collider called the Movie Trivia Schmodown, and it was movie trivia, and I think there isn't a single career experience I've had that has given me more gray hairs than participating in that show.
Well, that's the thing, because even in the business, as someone who's a part of entertainment, you have no idea how much crap I get from everyone around me for like not knowing this title or not knowing this, you know, actor's name or this. And like, I'm like, I just love movies and shows as what they are. So quite often, like, I'll love an actor and like, I could just watch their whole show, see them the next day and not even put 2 and 2 together. Because once they're like out of their wardrobe and costume, I'm like, I don't even know who you are. And it's like,
I kind of get that.
So I'm so bad at that I just feel like all trivia in this world too, I just can't.
Honestly, I respect it. I am very stressed by movie trivia. The only round of that trivia game show that didn't stress me out, though, was we did a Jurassic Park themed one, and that is one of my single favorite videos I've ever made.
Oh my God,
so nice to go
amazing.
Into that and feel like you know exactly what you're doing.
You're like, I nailed that.
It's special. All right, you got second roll on the tower now. Going with a number 1. Oh, I have a feeling I know your answer to this now. So this one is called Scream. And the only question that I could be asking right now if the topic is Scream is, what is your favorite scary movie?
Okay, so this is actually easy for me because I'm such a chicken that I legit to this day have not seen all the classics because just the trailer, just like the cover art, gives me nightmares. When I was a kid, I watched Chucky because, you know, we thought it was like a kid movie and my mom and dad kept being like, let's just keep going to the end because I'm sure there will be closure. I'm sure by the end you'll realize it's not that scary. I had nightmares for over 10 years.
Chucky goes on and on and on.
Yes. And, you know, it is an incredible franchise, but I'm sorry. So my favorite scary movie, which also I get made fun of, and I don't think some people qualify this as a scary movie, is Sixth Sense.
No, that totally counts.
Okay.
Oh, that counts.
To me, that is like as scary as it can get that I enjoy it.
I like that.
I love that movie. I've seen it so many times. I think it's brilliant. And it's really scary to me.
I understand that. I am extremely against boxing horror into like the most narrow definition of that genre.
Thank you. A lot of my friends would disagree. Because, you know, like obviously like The Ring, Conjuring, all these like, you know, I'm just like, I'm scared.
Whenever
someone's gonna come out of the TV and eat me.
Whenever someone tells me they're scared, also because today we're celebrating your movie musical, I always recommend Anna and the Apocalypse, which is a zombie outbreak Christmas musical, and it's phenomenal.
Okay. I
highly
like
recommend that one, and you're safe in that department. All right, third and final roll in the tower. Number 4. Oh, this is also semi-K-pop Demon Hunters connected, because there's one point in the movie where someone shows off a Huntrix tattoo.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
If you had to get a tattoo honoring the movie of your choice, what movie would you pick and what would it be?
Okay, I mean, we have to honor K-pop Demon Hunters.
I'm okay with this.
And I think I'm gonna have to say Derpy. I love Derpy.
Yes.
Or actually... No, I'm gonna stick with Derpy. Like if I got it, if I'm just gonna like commit and go, we're gonna go with Derpy.
Okay, I'm all for this. As someone who has quite a few of them, this makes sense.
I mean, it's amazing.
Can I make a pitch? I think you should do K-pop Demon Hunter flash tattoos.
Oh my gosh, I would love like sticker tattoos, like or the tattoos that last like 3 days.
I meant real tattoos.
Oh, real tattoos. But sorry, I don't even know what a flash tattoo.
There could be both sides. You could either pick a temporary one or you could get the real deal.
Yeah, like how cool would it be if we could like have our demon patterns or like have our patterns, but then you know they wash off in a couple days. You know, just ideas, or like. Just anything cool from the movie that we could tattoo on ourselves or our arms. Because, you know, as actors, nobody likes if we get a lot of tattoos. So.
This is what happens when you sit in the room, by the way. I make pitches during the interview.
Like all the audience is like, I wonder who's sitting over there.
Yeah.
Netflix.
What? One of the best publicists in the game is sitting in the corner. Marshall Weinbaum. Everyone should know his name. What's up, everyone? Welcome back for a new edition of Collider Ladies Night. Arden Cho is in the house for one of the biggest sensations, I was about to say of 2025, but it kind of feels like an all-timer. K-pop Demon Hunters. Oh my. Oh my.
Thank you. Thank you.
Still can't believe it.
I think we all feel the same way. It is quite incredible.
It's so well deserved, and I love the fact that everywhere I turn, someone is singing the songs, talking about the movie, and I love the fact that everywhere I turn, it's a different kind of person doing that too.
No, I feel like that's the thing that's been the most exciting is that regardless of age, gender, or the type of person you are, I feel like there's just been no like stereotype. Kind of, if you're a human and you have a soul, you kind of love K-pop Demon Hunters.
What is the movie you saw, the performance you saw, a personal experience you had, whatever it may be, that first made you say to yourself, I absolutely have to be an actor?
Oh my goodness. This is so hard because there's so many. I want to like word vomit so many of them. Oh my goodness. Only because it's kind of fresh in my head, but it's something I did watch again recently. Erin Brockovich.
Ooh.
I love Julia Roberts, and I'm just such a diehard fan. She is just perfect. And I just love
behind that.
everything about her. And I think that was one of those movies where I just was like, wait, this is really cool. Just to see a woman who everyone underestimates and disrespects and overlooks, just being like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking take care of shit.
I like that.
in her way.
Yeah.
And it's just fun. It's just such a fun, feel-good movie. I mean, I could literally probably name so many, but yeah, I love all like anything like female-led. You know, I still love like everything Anne Hathaway's done. I love Natalie Portman, love Nicole Kidman, love Cameron Diaz, like just everything, right? I feel like I'm totally aging myself because sometimes when I meet young people and I'm like, oh my God, do you remember like Vanilla Sky? And they're like, what? And I'm like, do you remember like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind? And they're like, huh? And I'm like, just my heart hurts a little bit.
every single time I do something like that, my heart hurts a little bit. Then I remind myself that it's the coolest thing ever that I get to introduce newer movie lovers to those classics that then they can experience for the first time.
That was why I recently watched Erin Brockovich, is because I had 2 young actress friends who are in their 20s, and I was like, girls, you need to watch this movie. You just need to see like how women can be. You know, we can still be like beautiful, sexy, and do all those, like have your feminine energy, but still be a boss, right? Like you can own it. And so I feel like also too that movie kind of plays with like, obviously like she knows like the jokes, right? Or like what people think about her like sexually or whatever, but she like owns it. Where I feel like there's different ways it can be used for women.
Oh, I totally
So
get
anyways,
that.
it was something that I was like, all right, you girls need to watch this. And it was one of those movies. And so we recently watched it.
Okay, so Erin Brockovich inspires you. I want to jump to figuring out what you're going to study in college. So you recognize the itch to act early on, but I was reading a little bit. You initially thought that maybe law was the path for you. Why exactly think that you would best fit that path at school? And then what made you realize, like, nope, I got to switch to psychology instead?
So it's kind of a funny story. I feel like I was one of those kids, and my parents will confirm, I was like singing and dancing before I was talking. I've just always loved performing. But they're very conservative Asian parents that were like, oh no, you have to be like a doctor or lawyer. And I'm like, I'm really scared of blood and I don't like the doctors. And literally like I'll just pass out all the time. I can't even like look at pictures like that. I can't watch like Saw because yeah. You know, even Teen Wolf, like kids on like my coworkers on set used to like prank me all the time because it was just so easy. All you had to do was just be like, ah, and I'm like, ah. You know, like I'm such a scaredy cat. So I was like, well, I can never do that. And then I was like, well, I guess if the only other option is law, like I guess I'll try to do that. But it was funny because there was this part of me that's like, obviously, like I want to make my family proud and I want to like have a good, you know, honorable job. But yeah, I would say it's kind of always been, I was always, you know, interested in like theater and musicals and all of that. But I was that kid that was really shy in high school. So I did do other performance things, but like my dream was to like be in the theater club or to do a musical. But like I didn't know how. I was like, how do you find a monologue to perform? Or like, how do you perform a monologue? So I always tell like young actors, it's so funny because I'm like, I think it took me over 12 or 15 years to ever do my first audition because I didn't know how, right? And like I didn't know anyone who did this. But luckily in college, I was a psych major. I was taking all these great classes, but I had an opportunity to take a theater elective. And oddly enough, I thought, oh, this will be so easy. It'll be like an easy A, right? It was not because I didn't know how to express myself. And I remember my theater instructor would say, you're like an onion. We have to like peel all the layers, but you're like an onion with like chains and bricks around it. And I was like, I don't know what that means. You know, it's like that whole like model minority thing, right? I always say now, I feel like it all makes sense to me because, you know, as immigrants and, you know, Asians, we grow up with all this pressure. Like you have to be perfect. You have to get straight A's. You could never get in trouble. Like I'd never gotten detention. I'd like never been late to class. I remember I would have like reoccurring nightmares in high school that I'm late to class. And that's the worst thing that happens. And I'm like, as an adult, I'm like, that's such a weird like nightmare to have. That like, oh no, I'm 5 minutes late to class and I'm crying in the middle of class and everyone's laughing at me. So it's like, I think it was just this thing of, yes, there was this part that also too, like I had some great like teachers and professors who made me feel like, oh my gosh, law, I can like help kids. And I wanted to work with like nonprofits and I wanted to do that. But then I think the more I learned it, I was like, or the more I studied, I was like, wait, so we like don't really have that much power? And like legally, I can't do that. So I used to do all this like volunteer stuff with kids in college. And then I would meet their lawyers and would realize there was all these rules. Like, you're legally not able to do this, or you cannot do that. Or even if you want to help someone, like, you have to be careful with how you help someone. And so that was pretty early realization. I remember I had a professor that was like, I'm sorry, I don't think you're cut out for this. But in the nicest way possible. In the way where like, you're a very mushy person, very empathetic, and very like, I don't know if it's going to make you happy. And, you know, when you're in college, you're just trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah. Oh, I get that. I get that all too well.
Still graduated and had no idea what to do. It like took me I ended up going to like Kenya for like 6-7 weeks on a mission trip. And in that trip, I had one of those like crazy aha moments where I was like, you know what? Let's just try.
I have so many follow-up questions. The first, I can't believe I remember this, but the first one that crossed my mind is like, I guess a little more like fun, silly. When you were a kid, what scene from a movie would you reenact the most?
Oh my gosh, every Disney movie, every single Disney movie. Like I love all the Disney movies. I love all the Disney princesses. And then like, you know, like as I would get older, it was just, you know, I actually reenacted a lot of like TV, like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It was just my dream to be like Kim Possible or like, and then, you know, and then it's like, I think I love it all because then like Moulin Rouge, I've seen like 100 times. Like I just want to be Satine. Like, that's all I want. And then I have people being like, you want to work in like a brothel? You want to like, and I'm like, no, it's not about that. It's just like her performance. She's so beautiful and she controls it all. Like, but it's just like
you're name dropping all the right. We're the same generation.
Right.
I feel like a lot of these things are probably on my list too.
And then of course, like as a kid, it's like, oh my gosh, like I loved Moulin. I loved Pocahontas. I loved Little Mermaid. Literally, I used to know every single word and song and moment in Little Mermaid. And it was just my dream. I was like, one day I'm going to be Ariel. You know, like I remember, I mean, even now, like as a grown-up, I like loved seeing like Wicked in theaters because I've seen the musical 6 or 7 times with all the incredible cast. And I just feel so blessed every time I get to see it. But then, I won't lie, there was a part of me that was like, I don't know if the movie's going to, you know, be up to par, right? Because as a lover,
I thought the same exact thing. I get it.
And literally, edge of my seat, jaw open, like drooling the whole time, just in awe, and then just being like, again, like crying, again, like one more time.
My #1 movie of 2024. Right? I understand.
Literally, I was like, must win all the awards. This is all I want to see is Wicked over and over again, like more awards. Just.
It's real good. It's real good.
Anyways, that was. I remember always like I was like my dream is to do a musical, but like I love music, but I always say like I'm just like a cute like acoustic singer, I like a little like jazz, a little bit like feel good music, but I've never been a powerhouse, and I love powerhouses. Right, I grew up listening to just like Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, like Mariah Carey, like love Adele, love Kelly Clarkson, you know, just everybody. But I'm like, that's just my dream. And then it's so funny because even in this movie, I get to like kind of live out my dream and have like Ejae, this incredible vocalist.
How? I don't understand how.
I am like her biggest fan. Oh. And to be able to say that we get to like kind of hold hands and be together in this, like it's so special.
Oh, I'm going to come back to that collaboration because it like truly pitch
so much
perfect.
to talk about.
So that was a question that crossed my mind at the beginning of that last answer. Then at the end, I ask about this every once in a while. The experience of, I believe you said you did that trip to Kenya. Yeah. And then after that, did you move to LA?
I did. I moved to LA in I think like July of 2007.
I love asking people about their experience moving to LA because I feel like when you move to Hollywood to become an actor, you picture it going one way. And then, you know, more often than not, things don't go to plan. So when you made that move, what did you picture happening while you pursued your goal of becoming a professional actor? And how does that compare to what actually happened?
Oh, man. I think... like, again, I'm such a scaredy cat, and I think I remember telling, like, my parents, and they're just like, okay, good luck. Like, we're not gonna, like, stop you, but we're also not I mean, they just were like, we don't really know how to support you. And I think I had, like, less than $200 to my name, and I just moved out with like a couple suitcases, found a roommate on like Craigslist, went through a lot of so crazy roommates on Craigslist and, just worked like many, many part-time jobs. And I think I cried every night for maybe 5 years. I remember, I think it was like my second year or so. I don't know if I've ever even told this story before.
Okay.
But my mom came to visit once and like I was fine. I had this like, at this point, I'm like in a nice, like what I thought was a really nice 2-bedroom apartment, and I now have like a roommate who I'm like, we're cool. But in my room was just a mattress, like no bed frame, no nothing, no dresser, no drawer, because there's a little closet. But I also like didn't have a lot of stuff. I was just like, I'm hustling. And I didn't have a TV at the time because we just use our laptop, right? Mm-hmm. Anyways, my mom came to visit, and she like looked at my room, looked at me, and then just started to cry. And I was like, wait, what's wrong? And she's like, they live better in prison. And I'm like, wait, Mom, stop. It is not that bad. You're being so dramatic. But she's like, how can you live like this? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm literally working all the time. I have like 2 part-time jobs. I'm never home. I'm like, this mattress is fine. Like, I was like, it's kind of like a waste of money to get a bed frame right now because I could use that money to like pay rent. But I think it was also one of those things where like I would always be like, oh yeah, I'll get one eventually, or I'll get one eventually. And I think like I moved around a lot as a kid, and I'm kind of like fine anywhere. Like I visit my best friend in Hawaii all the time, and she has an adorable 3-year-old. But like when she was born and when she was little, I just like sleep in the baby's room with the baby, like on the floor, like not a big deal. Like, yes, of course, I want like nice things if I'm like working. And of course, like who doesn't like a nice house and a nice hotel and a nice whatever. But I'm also kind of like, I don't know, like if this is all we got, this is all we got. We're just gonna work with it, right? Like think about like I'm sure you've talked to so many people or know or experience, but like sometimes when you shoot like indie movies, like you don't have trailers. Mm-hmm. I remember I will never forget this. Like one of like the coolest experiences, Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh yeah.
He's incredible. And I did this really, silly, fun indie with him maybe like a decade ago. And I remember there were times where we would be laying on the ground, like together, all of us in the cast. And I was like, he's so cool. He's like super famous and really well known. Oh my God, I hope he's not mad that I'm even saying this story because it was like low budget and, we're all just like down. But it was one of those moments where I was like, I really respect him. Like, he's not going to be like, I need this, I need that. Because, sometimes, like, with projects, like, you just don't have the budget for it. And if we signed up for that, that's what we signed up for, right? It just wasn't in the writer. It wasn't in the contract.
I get that.
But it's like, I just feel like this industry, you have to be flexible. You have to be, like, down. And, of course, I always hope that I'm like, one day. No, but now I have a bed frame. I got a couch. I got a TV. I got it all. Mom is very, very proud when she comes over.
You most certainly have earned all of that, and then
but,
some.
My first 4 or 5 years I didn't, and that's okay. I always tell people. I just met a young actor last night who was like, he's like, I have a question. I've been auditioning for a year, and I haven't booked anything. Like, do you think I should quit? And I was like, all right, let me just tell you. I auditioned for the first 5 years and had I don't know, maybe one co-star, maybe one guest star. And I was like, it took me 7 years. And then selling my car and my cello and every expensive possession I had to make more art. I made my first album like that. And then the second I was like, I retire from acting, or I quit acting. I can't retire if I haven't started. I quit acting. And then I booked Teen Wolf. So I'm like, bro, it took me 7 years, okay? So I said, you keep auditioning. This is a tough time in the business right now, too.
Yeah, it is.
You keep auditioning. I got friends who've shot 100 episodes of TV, and they're saying the same thing. So I'm like, do not be discouraged. We just keep going. And I was like, if in 5 years, nothing, seriously, call me, and we'll have another conversation. But he was the sweetest kid. And then he was like, oh my gosh, really? Thanks so much. I had no idea. That's crazy. You waited 7 years? He's like, okay, I'll try at least a few more.
That's why I always love talking about overcoming challenges on this show. You never know who is going to hear your story and feel inspired by it and stick with it.
Right, totally.
Makes all the difference. You brought up Teen Wolf, so that perfectly paves the way to a question I have about that one. And I was asking this question a lot recently, but I haven't brought it up in the past couple of shows. But I'm fascinated by the experience an actor can have when they have their breakout role in Hollywood. Because from the outsider perspective, it can look one way, but for the person actually going through the breakout, it can be a completely different time. So, two-part question about that. When you broke out with Teen Wolf, what would you say is, I guess, the biggest misconception people might have about what that's like? But then to hit the positive of it, can you also tell me something that really did change for the better when, your star soared through that project?
Interesting. I think the misconception always in this business is that it's also like glittery and perfect, right? And I think also too, a lot of my fans are like, oh, so angry for me when it ended. But I was like, I think that's a big misconception because I was like, yes, of course I was hurt and devastated because I would love there to be like closure for my character. I would love there to be an ending. And I think I will always love Kira and think that the world of possibilities were there for her. But I also very much understand that sometimes in a show, there's a lot of characters and there's a lot of stories to tell, and sometimes there just isn't room. It's also called Teen Wolf. And Kira, I'm sorry, I love her. I will love my baby girl forever, but she's not a wolf. She's not the... And actually, there's a big misconception. I think people also don't realize that I will always be so gracious to the writers and Jeff Davis and the show for allowing me to be a part of it for so long. Because when I auditioned, it was like 1 or 2 episodes. And then all of a sudden, they just kept writing me in. And then it was like 10, and then 15, and then it was a series regular, and then 24. And, now sometimes I think it took me a good 5 or 6 years to really even understand that experience and know what happened. Because imagine, like, I was thrown into it. I'm super green. It's like my first time as a series reg. So even in the beginning, like, I'm just like, okay, like, don't be a loser. Like, don't forget your lines. Like, don't suck. Like, just be awesome. And in my mind, I'm like, this show is awesome. It's already on season 3. Everybody loves them. They're all stars. And here I am. I'm like, I don't even know how what to do, right? I've only been on set a handful of times. I've shot like indie projects, but I've never done like a series. So I was really scared. But then on top of that, I'm much older. So then there's all these like weird layers of, I'm an older person. I should like know what I'm doing, but I don't because I started acting a little late. And then I want to like fit in, but I'm like pretty introverted and shy, and I have a lot of like imposter syndrome. So all of that was really tough. But like the cast was incredible. Everybody was so nice. I remember like one of my very first scenes was with like Orny Adams, and all he does is yell at me. And after every take, he'd be like, sorry about that, you okay? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm okay. Like, I'm fine. And it's like every day I was like learning something new. Every day I was being thrown into something. And the show had so much action, so much like drama and like romance and cool things. And so every day I was learning something new. I'm learning about production. I don't know what it means. I don't know like what camera operators are or DPs are or gaffers. Like, I don't know anything at this point, right? All I see is 100+ people staring at us, and I don't know who anybody is, right? So you're just like a kid, literally on the set. And so I think I was so in it. And then I was also so tired because it was just like so nonstop. And because I didn't like know how to prepare myself. I feel like now, whenever I have a big project, I'm really good about, I spend some time to really like have time alone, take care of all the things I need to take care of. And then the second I go in the project, I'm like ready. I'm there, and I'm like, all my friends know. I might like disappear for, a few months, and they understand. Nobody's mad about it. But, I remember at that time, like, I didn't know how to balance a relationship or friendships, but also shooting 19, 20 hours a day and then going home and learning lines and then doing all this. And it was just so fast. I always tell people it started and ended before I even knew what was happening. Before I even knew Kira was so loved. Before I even knew that it was what it was, if that makes sense, right? Yeah. And then, in the end, we end up doing some conventions and we get to meet fans. And that's when you learn and you go, oh my gosh, wait, why are you crying? And they're just like, because like you have no idea, you got me through like the toughest parts of my life. And I'm just like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like I'm crying. Now we're all crying together. And I don't even know, like, I'm like, Kira helped me grow up, right? Like Kira helped me sort of heal a lot of trauma from high school where like maybe in high school, like every boy liked my friend or like nobody really liked me or I feel like nobody thought I was cool because I was like the only Asian or whatever, right? But Kira, she got to be a lead. She got to get the coolest guy in school. She got to like save the day. So I always tell people like Kira healed me a lot. And then I think by season like 4 or 5, a lot of me went into Kira as well. And we kind of grew up together and we learned. And I think by the end, I was sort of feeling like I was like, oh, I kind of get it now. I understand her, right? Like I was always one of those actors that I would never want to change a single line or never miss like one word. I just wanted to do everything exactly how everybody wanted me to do it. And I still kind of do. I'm not a big like ad-libber. I don't like, because I just feel like the writers know what they're doing. The directors know what they're doing. Everybody knows what they're doing. So I just want to do what I do and then trust that everybody else will do. But I think in Teen Wolf, I remember sometimes though I'd watch like Dylan O'Brien and I'm like in the scene with him and I'm like, oh, sorry, I have a line. I'm sorry. I was really listening because I'm just floored at how good he is, right? Mm-hmm. And I think people like also sometimes discredit teen shows with how incredible the acting is, right? Like, I cannot tell you how many times I would just be like, dude, you're so good. And he's like, oh, no. And then like, you know, our directors were so gracious. They'd always like, we do whatever, what's on the lines, what's on the books. And then they'd be like, hey, like, and then Dylan would have ideas or they would have ideas and they'd be like, you know, try something. And it's just like, wow, they're so cool. You guys are so cool.
I love that.
And like, I've still like never really, I mean, except for in like partner track, but I've never really gotten to ever try anything because I'm like still scared. But I feel like, again, I learned so much there. And yes, of course, I'm sad Kira didn't get to come back. She didn't return from the Skinwalkers. But I also understand, right? It ended up being, I think that was the last season that I missed. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, it is what it is. Like, we move on. And then now I always tell, like, anytime I meet a fan who's, like, mad about it, I'm like, baby, don't be mad. We should be thankful that she even existed. And then also, how fun is it? I always say, like, I feel like all my characters all kind of like touch a little. Like, they're very different, but they all touch a little.
Okay.
Right? Like, I'm like, I could see Kira being like a little bit of like an Ingrid when she grew up, right? And I could see like in an alternate universe definitely being June.
Yeah.
And then in another alternate universe, definitely being a Rumi.
I like this connection
right?
too.
And so like, I always tell like my fans, I'm like, I find a lot of healing through that. And I always just try to focus on the positives because in everything we do, there's always going to be something negative, something painful, and there's always going to be trauma. Okay. But I feel like when we focus on that, like if I focus on the fact that Kira never came back, then I would probably have a hard time ever talking about her or like loving the work. But I only focus on the fact that she got to exist because they wrote her, because Jeff Davis like created her. They brought her into this world. She got to be there. Yes, the vans are like longer, but it's like kind of the same thing about like Chinu in K-Pop Demon Hunters. Everyone's like, how dare they potentially, I don't like to say murder because I like to believe that in this magical universe, he's just living within my sword or Rumi's soul or wherever, somewhere magical. Anyways,
I like that thought.
But we need that, right? We need that. And again, this is why I'm always so impressed by storytellers and the narrative because they can do what I would not do, right? Because I'm a viewer. I'm an audience who goes, I just want the happy ending. I just want that. But then guess what? Then we don't have a hit. You know?
I love that mentality. I'm curious if you were able to apply it to partner track. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was that your first time #1 on the call sheet?
It was.
That one is a big deal. That show grew a pretty substantial and diehard fan base. And I guess I'm just always curious about the experience of going through a show where it's so important to you and it gets canceled too soon. And you want to be able to, forge forward with confidence, but at the same time, I feel like part of the process is embracing the fact that it was something special to you that you're disappointed to have to let go.
So, I won't lie. I literally went off the grid for 3 months. I disappeared. My friends, my family, nobody could get a hold of me. Everybody, I literally turned off my phone. And I think I mourned the show for minimum 3 months before I could even talk about it. Because I think it was one of those things where I just felt like, and again, I think our showrunner would say the same thing, is if we knew it was just season 1, the ending was different, right? Ingrid would get redemption. Ingrid and Z would have had their moment. Because the show was set up for Ingrid and Z to be like the power couple of the year. And also, Ingrid and her friends to sort of own everything that they kind of struggle to find throughout the season, right? And so I feel like season 1 was just laying the groundworks. And it's just such a shame that we didn't get to see where these lovely characters end up. Or at least get closure. I feel like, yes, I think one season would have still, even if we would have known, I think one season just wouldn't have been enough. But I think there could have been a great world where there was 1 or 2, 3 more episodes where we do get a bit of a closure, we get a little ending story, and we go. But I think everybody was sort of under the impression that we had more, a lot more, right? And so I think for me it was devastating, not just for me, but for the cast. We had gotten so close, and we shot this in the pandemic, so we were a family, you know? Oh my gosh, it's so sad because I just love my cast so much, and they are everything. And even if Netflix would call and be like, you guys want to do it, I would literally call every single actor. I would call them myself and be like, would you be down? And I can confidently say, I actually think 100% would be down. Unless, of course, they have some conflicts. But I just think everybody would be down. But recently, I've been telling everyone, and it took me a couple years to see this, but it's been really nice because, yes, I mourned the show for months. And then I was like, guys, I'm quitting acting. It's my first time as a one. I couldn't get a show to make it. It's all my fault. It's this. It's I did the whole thing of it's my fault. It's my fault. But of course, I'm still very good friends with Julianne Robinson, who did our first director. And we meet all the time. And she calls me all the time. And she's just the best. And she would always be like, no, Arden, you're a star. We're so lucky to have you. And she's like, I'm so lucky. And I remember being she made me feel like I did belong. But I think when it fails, you feel you just can't. I know it's a lot of things, right? It's a lot of pieces. And then I also know that, we had a lot of tough competition. There's a lot of great, fantastic shows. There's a lot of amazing, amazing shows. And shooting in New York, we were so blessed, by the way, to shoot in New York. We actually got to shoot in New York in a real law firm. We got to shut down streets in Manhattan. We got to shoot at the Plaza. We got to shoot at an amazing, actual, real, staple New York loved locations. And that's expensive. So in the end, I get it, right? I get it. It hurts. And everyone, even last night, we were doing a screening for KPop Demon Hunters, and I can't tell you how many people were by the way, partner track is the one. I'm still waiting and maybe crossing fingers. But I tell people, the irony of that all is now only something I'm realizing, literally maybe in the last couple weeks, is partner track was so special to me, and I learned so much. It's my first time as a one, and I also learned, I cannot try to do everything. I can't be everyone's mom. I can't take care of everyone. I actually got pretty sick after that show. I started losing chunks of hair. I was not doing well, but because it was I just loved the show so much, and I wanted everyone to be happy. I wanted every actor to feel safe and seen. I wanted every creative to be friends, And so I wanted a big happy family. And in my mind, I'm we're gonna do this for 7 years, so let's all be a happy family. And I think when it didn't work out, yes, I was devastated. But because I took a very big, long break, I remember I did kind of quit. I took a break, and then I told my whole team, I'm sorry, I think this is as far as I can go. I don't think I can take it anymore. I didn't audition for a full year or anything. But then I would hear about a project like Avatar: The Last Airbender. And then they'd be like, this is really cool. I know you don't want to act anymore. You don't want to audition, but this is cool. And then I'm like, oh my God, all the leads are Asian. They're kids. And it's Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's like, yes, I have to do this. So then I brushed off our cameras and I auditioned. Mm-hmm. And it was a really fun audition because I also got to audition in a place where, like, I remember Albert, our showrunner at the time, he was like, when we met, it was really nice because he was like, your audition was really cool. He's like, you read June, like, differently. And I was like, oh, interesting. I didn't really think about that. But I basically kind of did my audition for June as not like such a villain, but a girl that's like, no, I'm just like, doing what I need to do, and I'm not even a bad person. My bad, sorry, right? But this is what I'm doing. And I think that attitude came from, I lost everything. I lost my show. I felt like I didn't know what I was going to do. And then I did that. And then I was like, all right, this is it. That's all I want to do. I'm good. And then KPop Demon Hunters script came along, and I was like, wait, hold on. It's like a Korean story. I mean, it's about like Korean culture. It's about K-pop. There's, like, Koreans involved. You know, Maggie King is Korean. I see, like, there's Korean writers. I just, like, got so excited. And I was like, wait, then I want to do that. So then I was like, I auditioned for that. And then I remember the other thing that came across was maybe happy ending. And I was like, no, I can't go to New York. I was like, it's too soon. I can't go back to New York. I literally could not go back to New York. I like skipped fashion weeks and I skipped stuff because I could not step back in New York. I left all my stuff after Partner Track in an empty apartment for 2 years because I could not go pick up my stuff. That's how like devastated I was. But then I was like, wait, maybe happy ending is so cool. We have like an Asian female lead. It's written by a Korean writer. It's a Korean musical on Broadway. And I was like, wait, I'll do anything, whatever. And so I have a tiny little cameo in it, but it's like I get to like touch that project and support it, right? From afar. We only had to go in for a day. It's amazing. And it's just so cool. And so I think like losing Partner Track and being able to be like, okay, I can retire, I can step away from this and I'm fine, allowed me to then say, I'm really only going to choose the things that have the same purpose and vision that I have, which is the reason I started acting is because I wanted us as Asian Americans or Asian girls or as women to be seen just as people, like as a real girl. Like sometimes I'm like Pinocchio. I'm like, but I just feel like I felt like I didn't know who I was till I was 30. I was always trying to be someone else, trying to be cool, trying to be liked, trying to be perfect. Didn't know who I was, learned a lot in my 30s working in this business. And then this business is tough. Comments are tough. Critics are tough. People are tough, right? Like you just hear all sorts of things. And then I remember I did the terrible thing of like reading about why Partner Track got canceled. And then it's so sad because like you then have like this thing of you're like, wait, why are Asian Americans mad when you've got an Asian lead? I'm fighting for like Asian stories to be told and our family, like we put Korean in the dialogue. We fought like for a really cool Asian lead. Like we spent 3 months. I did a Zoom casting audition during every single lunch nearly for 3 months so that we could cast Z as like this macho, cool, smart, sexy, buff, good-looking Asian guy. Because like, that's the moment, right? For an Asian American couple. But everyone can't get past the fact that it's Asian female, white male. And there was like so much negativity on that. But I'm like, guys, I'm not saying that our Asian men are not good enough, but I'm like, this is one based on a book. And this is reality. Like, this is what the world looks like if you're trying to make partner at a firm. It probably is pretty white. The whole story that Helen wrote is about fighting that, right? Having all these people who really don't see you for who you are or understand you or your walk or anything you're going through. Like I always tell people, my favorite parts of Partner Track are when Ingrid's standing there in silence and you just see everything happening and all of these like traumatic moments where I remember having like CEO friends call me after being like, I watched this with my wife. And it's the first time I realized there's no way to explain how someone makes you feel when you are so invisible or like diminished or disrespected. Sometimes like it's not even an HR issue at that point. It's like, he's like, oh wow, like it made me realize like I should be more aware. And I was like, whoa, this is really cool. You're like a billionaire and your wife is really awesome too. But in my mind, I'm like, that was a really cool moment where I was like, interesting and amazing that TV can do that, right? Like this guy, he doesn't need to do that. He doesn't need to make that call and let me know that him and his wife like ended up having some amazing conversations. Because for years, you know, maybe when his wife would be like, oh, this guy like disrespected me at work or like he did this because I'm a woman, he'd be like, no, it's not because you're a woman. You're taking it personally. It's not it, right? A lot of times people do that and they don't mean to, but it's because they don't know. Mm-hmm. And I think partner track, really when you get into the thick of it, like that's something our showrunners and writers did so well. Our directors really were able to capture how uncomfortable that is, but also how impossible it is to explain. Right? Like,
sometimes I think that's like one of the best parts of movies and TV is that, you know, sometimes maybe it's difficult to explain, but at least by coming up with a full character, you could still feel the feelings, but without necessarily explaining it via dialogue. And it's a really powerful and one of a kind experience to have that sometimes you can't have just walking around in reality.
Right. And I'm sure like you experience and know that so well, being a female producer, being in this business and meeting all the characters that you do. Right? Like sometimes I'm like, you know, that's why I say you have to be able to adapt because not everyone's going to know. And sometimes I'm like, that's fine. Like I didn't ever feel like I don't know, like I just want our stories to be told. I don't need anything else. I just want our stories to be told. I want like young people growing up to be like, oh yeah, like Asian people belong. I just don't want to feel like I can't be here, right? I was born in America. Yes, I definitely am like so Korean in ways, but that's something that started as an adult. You know, my first 20 years of life, if anybody asked me what I was, I said I was American. If anybody asked me where I was from, I said Texas. I didn't understand what it meant. Oh, my mom and dad, yeah, they're Korean, but I'm American, right? That was me as a child. And then now I understand, oh, I'm Korean American. I'm Asian American. Right? And it's as much as I try to be as Korean as possible, like that's hard. And I've tried. I think that's why like I love doing things like K-Pop Demon Hunters or maybe Happy Ending because I might not be like Korean, but I get to feel really proud of our culture and where we come from and things that when growing up might have felt like a handicap or might have felt like something to hide is now something I'm so immensely proud of.
You should be.
Oh, thank you.
Zeroing in on K-Pop Demon Hunters, you should be so proud. The way that it's just electrifying so many people out there. Yeah. I'll start at the very beginning. And I do know that initially you auditioned to voice Celine. Yes. But when it comes to Rumi, I'm curious, when that pivoted from auditioning from Celine to Rumi, what would you say is the biggest difference between what you thought she needed to sound like in the audition space and what she wound up sounding like in the finished feature?
It's interesting. I think when I auditioned, I did it a lot like me because I didn't really know. I hadn't done a lot of voiceover. I don't know how to do a lot of voices. And when I did Celine, I was like, Rumi, mira. Like I really tried to pitch down and be like, try to be a sexy adult. I don't know why. I imagine she's very sexy. But anyways, Kim Yoon-jin is very sexy. I love her voice. And she's so perfect. So when I heard, I was like, oh my God, yes, she's so perfect. Like literally 1,000 times better than me. But when it came to Rumi, when I auditioned, I really just did me. But I thought of a lot of my friends who are singers in Korea. I thought of Kira at moments. I thought of I thought of how I feel about all my little sisters and my friends. Like, yes, I'm not a K-pop star, but being in this business, I feel like I have so many little sisters and brothers that like I want to take care of all of them. And in a way, the way that she's trying to like seal this Honmoon and save the world, I feel like I want us to be proud of who we are and like be out there and not hide our culture, not hide the food we eat or the music we hear or like the clothes we wear or, you know, like I remember one of the first times I wore like a hanbok to an event, people were like, even my mom was like, oh, isn't that weird? I'm like, why is that weird? It's a traditional dress, but it's beautiful. I love it, right? Like, I think there's just so much that we've always had to explain. Like a project had to be very Asian and everyone's Asian and it's all explained. But in K-pop Demon Hunters, like we don't explain when the girls go, kata, 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 kata. We just kind of assume, are they saying like, let's go or hurry? Like you just kind of assume it. Mm-hmm. Or I remember when Rumi first sees the letter from Chinu, it was like, oh, do you want to meet or let's meet? Or I think it was written in English. And then we kind of had a discussion, Maggie and I, we were like, I was like, and I don't know if she suggested it or who did, but it was one of those, I love speaking Konglish. I do it with my family and my friends, which is a little bit of like Korean and English. We call it Konglish. And so I was like, it would be so great if it's like 만날래, which sounds interesting because like Korean language is very respectful. And it's like, for someone you don't know, it should be like 만날래요, which is like a proper way to say, would you like to meet? So 만날래 is like, you want to meet? But it kind of sounds a little bit like, that's kind of, excuse me? So that's why her reaction is then like, what? Meet you? Like, what? Like, and I feel like those kinds of things, it was such a collective effort with like Maggie and Chris and myself and us all in the room really trying to like find her voice. And I feel like I'm so thankful that they care so much about Rumi and love Rumi so much. And as do I, but I had to really trust them because in the beginning it's sketches. The beginning, like we as actors like don't know anything. You know, I mean, we're getting sides and lines, but a lot of these scenes, we'd record it, they'd kind of start developing it, then they'd come back and be like, oh, we changed this, or this is different now, or this scene's gone now, or, you know, and for us, like I remember whenever they do playback, I'll be like, oh, wait, can you play this back again? I literally don't even remember what happens before this because now the orders have changed. And so it's all like, I always tell people it's like 1,000% trust to Chris and Maggie and our amazing editors and just everybody in the room because voiceover is like, as actors, there's really so much you can do. And then it's so fun because obviously like we want her to be like, she's fun and playful still, but then also she's the leader, she's grounded. But then she's got all these emotional scenes and ironically for me, people always ask me like what was the hardest and what was the easiest. And all the easy scenes for me were the dramatic big scenes. Cool. The to Gino, like, how could you do this? To like Celine, the like, I want you to like love me, you know, like all of those.
The line delivery in that particular scene, like it cuts through in the most fascinating way. Because I love that last conversation with Celine where like I could feel the anger coming through your work, but at the same time, it's also a situation where a character is like fully finding and embracing herself, and it was just like a pairing that I wasn't quite expecting.
And it was interesting because I feel like I had this like 20 years of baggage in this career that I kind of like just put there in that moment of like the whole no more lies, no more hiding, like just me, like accept me, right? Like I think so much of my career, it was always, I just want to like look the way I'm supposed to look or talk the way I'm supposed to talk or do what I'm supposed to do. Like yes, I have always still been true to who I am and like want to represent me in the way that is most true to me. But I think I didn't really know who I was, if that makes sense, right? Like I'm still always like beating myself up or judging myself. And I think as like people, we just do that, right? Like I have a complex about all these weird things that people are always like, what? Why? Like I used to literally have a complex about my legs so much that I would never wear shorts. Like even in the summer, I would just wear pants because I hated my legs so much. Or like my arms. just whatever weird body dysmorphia that every girl experiences or every guy or any person, right? And I think, for Rumi, those are really easy for me. And then I think I had the most amazing support and help from Chris and Maggie for all like the light and fun stuff with the girls. Like literally one of the hardest lines was happy fans, happy Honmoon, because we have to all three be saying it together. Same energy, same vibe, same enunciation, but we're not together because we're far away. We've got people all over the place. And, again, voiceover is a very, very fun and special thing. But that's something where I was like, I knew Maggie and Chris had a sound and a tempo and something they wanted that's perfect. But sometimes I'm like, can you help me? Like, I don't know. And so that kind of stuff, I remember thinking, oh, it's so funny. Like all these like cute light scenes that everyone just passes by. I'm like, guys, that was so hard. Like eating that kimbap and making that sound like that was so hard.
Fascinate me when it comes to voice acting.
I love efforts though. Love them. But I would literally come home and just fall asleep on the couch. I wouldn't even make it upstairs because I was exhausted from like running around, eating chips and like fighting and then like crying and then, oh my God. Though the one really emotional scene that was hard was her on the rooftop when Rumi falls to her knees. And it's like, how can I fix this? How can I save the little feather on my voice? And like I remember that was so hard because at that moment, I don't think I had heard the song yet. So I was like, and I think I'm such like a feeler, emotional, like I need to like see the whole picture and see the room, be in the set. I think those things were hard for me. Like I always tell people, unless I'm in wardrobe, hair, makeup, the shoes are on, I never feel like the girl. So with Rumi, I had this huge imposter syndrome where I was like, I just never felt like I was the girl. I remember after a few sessions, especially if we would have some like tough sessions where I felt like maybe I wasn't giving what we needed or maybe I wasn't doing it well. I remember once like telling my agent, I was like, do you think they think I'm like doing this right? Like, am I okay? Like, did they say anything? I'm like, is everybody happy? And she's like, why? And I was like, I don't know. I just feel like I don't really know how voiceover acting works, but I'm like, we kind of got stuck on a few lines a lot. And then I'm like, I don't know if I'm like doing it right. And I'm like, I love this movie so much. Like, let them know. Like, I won't be offended if they need to like recast me because I can't get it. And then she was like, no. Like, I think everything's fine. I'll call in and check. And then it was funny because she's like, no, everything's fine. She's like, it's art. There's so many pieces. Everything's fine. But I remember being like, oh, okay. And I just was always nervous and scared because I wanted to like make Rumi as perfect as she is. And of course, like the animators make her like the most gorgeous in the world.
So good.
And she's perfect. And the writing and the narrative in K-Pop Demon Hunters is just next level.
It really is.
So good. So I'm always like, when everyone's like, congratulations, I'm like, thank you. But no, like, I feel like I can never even take credit for it because it is such a big collective effort, right? Like without this like killer narrative, without these killer voices and this killer music and production and like literally our producers and even Ian, working with the Black Label, Maggie, Chris, all the writers, like, and then Sony Animation, right? Creating this like glistening, beautiful art. I'm always like, I love the animation style in K-Pop Demon Hunters because as an animation like geek, like I love every animated movie. Like literally every animated movie is my favorite. I'm obsessed. I cry in all of them. They're my favorite. So like, yes, horror movies are just not it for me, but animations, that is all I want to do. Like my dream would be just to do like every animation forever, but I love animations.
Don't blame you.
I feel like sometimes people forget like 1 million people work on this. Literally, like I remember once the movie came out and all the animators and artists started sharing their art and I got to see like where it started because we've seen some sketches and where it started for some of the characters, but I haven't seen all of it. I didn't get to see how Derpy started. I saw Derpy finish. So remember that first scene when Derpy shows up in the pot? I could not stop laughing.
I have many favorite scenes in the movie. That is towards the top of my list as a cat lover.
Right. And
I've
it's
seen
like
it.
That, like the comedic timing in that, the art, everything, the storytelling is just, and it's just, again, now, after, to get to see like the art and where it all came from, I'm literally geeking out every day and like finding a new person that's like, oh yeah, I worked on the movie. And I'm like, what? You're so cool. Like, I didn't know that. And I'm almost like, I want to meet everybody. I want everyone to get their moment. And it's like, that's like my thing. I'm like, may this movie just like continue living on and be the world favorite so that every single person who touched this project and got to be a part of making it what it is today, like gets to feel that, right? Because I feel like as actors and directors and like we get to see a lot of it and we get to like meet the fans and do all that. But I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, how do we get like everyone?
Oh, it'll happen.
Yeah.
This movie's going to have a long, long journey ahead of it. I'll bring it home with one last question.
Okay.
So I love the fact that during this conversation, I could feel so much of your other characters and also you as a person influencing how you play this character in KPop Demon Hunters. At the end of the movie, Rumi embraces who she truly is and is not going to hide anymore. And given the fact that there's a lot of people out there that want to see the next stage of her journey, it makes me wonder, what do you think is one corner of her world or layer of her personality that I guess would prove to be the next best step forward so she could become a stronger friend and a stronger hero?
Oh man, this is that one question that I'm like, you gotta ask our writers, you gotta ask Maggie and Chris.
I'm putting the power of the pen in your hands.
I think for me, I would just say I really do hope that we get to find out about her story. I feel like she has so many unanswered questions.
Her dad.
Yeah, like I
wanna
want
know who her dad
to know
is.
who daddy is. I want to know what happened to mom. I want to know more about Celine. I want to know it all. And I also feel like I also really want to see that like growth year that she has with Zoe and Mira, as now she's like not ashamed of her patterns, you know? And like I love that like final poster with like her patterns. I love them in the jjimjirbang with like just in the hot tub with like her arms out with like, you know, I love that we get to see that. And I think that's, again, too, something that really has taken the audience by surprise where they go, oh, wow, I got patterns too, right? Everyone's got patterns. No matter what kind of anxiety or shame or sadness or trauma you have in your life, like to some extent, everyone's got something. And it's like, I just feel like we have to touch on that. But I feel like the only way to touch on that is if we find out this.
I get that. I get that. And I'm here for it all.
So again, crossing fingers because our sequel or prequel or anything is not confirmed. So we are crossing fingers.
This is the manifestation table.
We're
we speak what we want into existence here.
I know, literally. I keep just being like, all I'm waiting for is I just want to get that sequel, prequel, or anything, or trilogy, anything, literally anything. I'm there. Call me.
I have faith. I think you deserve it. I think there's countless people out there that think you all deserve it and that want it too. I have to let you go. You have so much more celebrating.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I feel like we could talk about this for hours and hours.
I had 3 pages worth of questions. We barely scratched the surface. Your answers were beautiful, and thank you for being so forthcoming with your journey. Because again, I think there's a lot of people out there that will be seen and encouraged by hearing your experiences. I'm going to say congrats on everything you've accomplished on KPop Demon Hunters and everything coming your way in the future. Come back to Ladies Night soon.
Seriously, thank you so much. I feel like we could literally continue this.
Yes.
We must another night.
Anytime. I have a feeling we're going to cross paths a lot in the coming months, and I look forward to it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.